Good morning. I'm here today. My name is Ben Simmons-Tulip, and I am the Director of Programs for Reset, a nonprofit business incubator in Hartford, Connecticut. And I'm here today with Tomas Sanchez, who is the founder of Alma.
Hey guys, how are you? So it's a pleasure to be here today talking about like some interesting stuff.
Absolutely. You know, your product is so interesting, but I really want to first get a chance to really dive into the underlying problem that you're sort of looking to solve with your business. And through our conversations, it's really become apparent that culture is such an underlying theme in your business and how to sort of deal with culture in the workplace and its importance. So I'm curious if you could sort of set the stage for us by talking about why culture is so important in the workplace.
Well, first I need to make a disclosure, right?
Sure.
And the issue was that honestly, when I was back in college, right, doing I got my major on business. For me, culture was just like, it was a bluff. Right? Everybody talks about culture, and you're like there in your human resources class and whatever, and you're like listening at this old man preaching you about like how organizations behave, and you say, seriously? Like it should be everything about like numbers and marketing and what are the goals, what's the strategy for this and that. But I gotta recognize that after working in a few places, I've worked like in huge corporations with a very like German style management. Some other that they were like American corporations, some mid-sized firms in Latin America, and you can tell the difference. And it's impressive how you get into a place, and even though you see that everything might look the same from the outside, when you work for a while, things are so different that they even define you, right? Yeah. So you might be a good guy somewhere, but when they change you to somewhere else and the rules are different, and you think that if you do this, this is going to be the outcome, you realize that in a new place, that same action is not going to generate the same outcome because maybe it's going to make people uncomfortable, right? Or they're going to be jealous, or they're going to say, well, this guy's not being thorough enough, or maybe he's going to be, I don't know, like maybe you're just being rude, right?
So what are the things that jump out to you when you go into a new company about the culture? How do you tell if it's a productive culture, or what strikes you as sort of a red flag? Like this is a culture that is not conducive to.
Well, I would say that the first thing, and well, it has to do with what I'm doing currently, right? But it's the lack of communication. There's like many times where when you see that communication is just like broken apart in many pieces, or it's like the classic one that it's like don't kill the messenger, you know, that classic expression, right? And you see that in many companies, the messenger gets always killed, right? So that's, for example, just one example, but there are like many details when you can tell that a company information or knowledge is just not flowing, where you can see that the top management is discussing something, but in the bottom, nobody knows anything about it.
See, but we live in an era now of so much information technology. There seems like there are more mediums for communication than ever before. So where's the breakdown happen?
I think that the breakdown is that we haven't changed. I mean, society changed, technology changed, but the way we work have not changed, right? It's, put it in another way, right? Before, right, when you were exposed to the media, right, just like things keep coming, right? Like you turn on the TV, information is going to flow in, right? It was the same with the radio, and you didn't have like much options of having like a customized research of like, or looking exactly what you were looking for, right? And today you can, right? Google and all the internet allows you to just like go and find specifically what you want. But when you're at work, it doesn't happen that way. When you're at work, you just get an inflow of emails, and it's just like emails coming in, and that's the only way. So it's like radio. It's like you turn on the radio, you turn on the emails, they come in, but you can never go and search specifically what you're looking for, right? If it's knowledge, if it's a task, if it's like the plan, if it's the strategy, whatever you're looking for, you cannot find it.
And so sort of what type of communication or what alternative form of communication lends itself to a positive, productive culture?
I mean, I think the basics is basically applying what we have learned in terms of like our private and social life, apply it to work, right? Yeah. It's like, do you send emails to your friends?
On occasion, not really.
That's weird, right? Like we don't send emails to our friends, and that's because of something. Because emails, they're just like letters, and letters, they're just like unorganized. They're untagged, right? And it just doesn't work. So here's the same. Like you use Twitter for some things, you use Instagram from another, you use Yelp, or you're going to use Facebook, or you're going to use like whatever. But it's going to be the correct channel for each instance or need, right? Here's the same. I think that in work, we need to realize that for certain things, we should use a task manager. For some others, we should use like your Drive, or for some others, not going to be a Drive, but it's going to be a private Wikipedia, or for some others, it's going to be about like instant communication, but it's going to be something that it doesn't matter if it's not recorded. It's just like, it's for now. And some others, they should be in a statement, and they should be recorded, and they should be saved somewhere. Like, so I think that the key at the end, right, it's organizing conversations. Yeah. These days, what you have, it's just like thousands and thousands of conversations that they're not well organized.
Yeah, sure. So there seems to be some sort of an implicit link between culture and productivity. And obviously, so many of the upper management at these corporations care sometimes almost exclusively about productivity at the detriment of culture. So how can this new wave of managers, a new wave of companies, understand the link between culture and productivity?
I mean, I think it's being understood every day more, right? Like a survey made like 2 years ago by Glassdoor, and was published on Forbes, shows that 50% of the CEOs of the top 500, they think culture is an urgent matter. And it's because they have come to realize, and I like this phrase, that is, culture is that thing that goes on when the boss is not around, right?
It's a great phrase.
Well, I mean, it's true, right? Like you all day, you're like preaching to maybe your first line of managers, or you are just like making plans and doing presentations and making everything like big written somewhere. But after that, it doesn't exist, right? It's just like, it's wishful thinking that all the rules and all the goals that you want to achieve, they're going to be achieved just because you say so, right? Because you said so, but nobody listened to that. And nobody understood it, and nobody really incorporated it into their daily task. And that's the thing that needs to, how do you say it? It needs to touch everything inside a company, that you realize all those little details, all those rules, all those things, or the way we do things that need to be everywhere. And in that way, you can be productive. Because in that way, you're going to manage your company, and your company is going to be managed, right, in the way you want to. And it's going to be a fast way. It's going to be a thorough one. It's going to be one that is focused on the client. If it's one that is going to be focused on the cost, it's one that is going to be very efficient, or it's going to be maybe very effective, which are different, right? So in that way, your company is going to be managed by each one of the employees in the right way, right? So that's the only way to be productive, right?
You know, how can a company, or so thinking about culture, it seems so often to happen organically, right? It just sort of, because of certain individuals on the team and perhaps the personalities or styles that they bring to the working dynamic, it has, it sort of manifests itself in a certain type of culture. But how can culture be cultivated? Can people strategically implement some sort of culture in a workplace?
Definitely. I mean, I've had the luck to be there, let's say at least 3 times, like on the first row, seeing how culture was changed. And it's massive. I mean, it's not something that happens from one day to the other, but definitely within a year, you can see important difference. And within, let's say, 3 to 4 years, you can see like how the culture definitely changed, right? I saw it first in the retail, then I saw it like in an industrial company, and then I saw it like in logistics, right? And it was mainly because of the CEO. And if it's not the CEO, it's going to be the leaders, right? Because at the same time, those new CEOs, they appointed new guys over there. So it's always like, what's your example, right? Who's leading you? Who's getting promoted? What are the characteristics, or what are the virtues of those who are leading the companies? And those styles are the ones that tells everyone things and tells the important things, right? on the company. So for example, if you got promoted, right? But you are basically just like someone who is always just like preaching and preaching and preaching and trying to figure out a lot and just like everybody knows me, but you don't do much, you get promoted, right? Everybody understand that for getting promoted in this company, you need to preach a lot.
Sure.
Right? You need to stand out, right?
Yeah.
And maybe nobody said it, right? There's no statement of the company, like an email, right, to everyone saying, hey, if you stand out, you're going to be promoted. But everybody understood it, and it becomes like a truth inside the organization. That's it, right? Yeah. Which is completely different if you just like go there, quiet, you do your job, but you get your results, right? And when that guy gets promoted, that the guy is always with his head down maybe, but gets things done, everyone understand, man. It doesn't matter how much you show off. If you do your stuff, you'll get promoted.
It seems so implicit. It seems
it is implicit. I mean,
management stuff.
Culture, it's implicit. Right. And that's the thing. And that's the thing that usually people don't get, right? That it's not about like writing it down, right? Like, I mean, you need to write it down. But at the end, what you need to do is to act it. Right. I mean, it's to live it. It's to behave in a certain way that is going to remember everyone in every single second of the year or of the day the way you got to be.
It's like the famous adage, actions speak louder than words.
That's right. I mean, it's sad. It's sad. But usually I think people forget it. Yeah. I've seen it like also like many times when the CEO or any other manager say, hey, we're going that way. And the guys start walking the other way, right? right. Because he wants, right, everyone to behave in a certain way, but he's the first one that is not doing it.
Yeah. Interesting. So perhaps hypocrisy is one of the biggest detriments to building a culture. Is it?
I don't know. I don't think it's hypocrisy. I think probably it's lack of commitment, or it's maybe not being honest enough with yourself. Because many times companies, they want to be in a certain way, but it doesn't fit at all with their way. I mean, for example, if you don't do sports, right? Sure. And you're just starting into something, it's kind of hard to believe that from one moment to the other, you're going for an Ironman. Yeah. Right? You're not going to Hawaii just like within a year after deciding, hey, I'll do sports, right? Sure. No, you got to start like jogging, right? Yeah. Maybe you get a bicycle. Sure. Maybe you I don't know, like you jog with some friends at the park. It's going to be something relaxed, easygoing, in a way, right? Incremental in a way. And if you're going anywhere, it's going to be the same. Okay, I want to be a chef, right? Okay, it's weird that the second day you're going to be doing the best patisserie, like French style, right? No, probably you're going to start with a decent burger, right? Sure. You're going to start, let's say, the same burger, but you're going to combine it with a few little things, and you're going to make it like a little bit more artistic, and you say, hey, this is my touch, right? Sure. It's the same here. Yeah. Like, you got to go somewhere, you got to start, like, on the things you got to your side, and then, like, go increasing, moving. But you need to know the north, right? You want to be a chef, you want to be an Ironman, but you cannot move from one day to the other to the upper level, right? In culture, it's the same, right? You need to go with things that suits you or that suits your company. That's why I usually when I have this conversation, I usually ask people, please, like, start by defining your current culture.
Interesting. So after you define your current, and so I love that you talk about true north, right? Having this idea in your head about where that north is. So imagine a situation in which a CEO knows where that true north is. They sort of have an idea about where they want to move the company. What's like what's the order of operations or a step of procedures or the most important things they need to think about to get from where they are today, incrementally to that true north?
I mean, I think usually, let's say 4 steps. It's not just like that way, but let's say 4. First, it's just like realizing where you are right now. Sure. Right? Then, obviously, realizing where you want to be. Yeah. 4th, like building a strategy for that. And when I say strategy, okay, think in the big picture. Realize what are going to be the main obstacles. Realize what are the main challenges. Do your current culture towards the one you want to be, right? And then think a lot in tactics, right? Think in what are the specific things you're going to activate and to actionate like every day, or with certain individuals or certain things that they're going to reveal and make real all these previous 3 steps, right? Because usually, again, people stops in the strategy stuff, right? So we have a nice strategy, all the top management, it's lying and everyone knows where we're heading. Nobody does anything, right? You need to bring it down. So tactics, they're like always crucial. And for that, it's just like doing examples, doing rules, doing games, doing benefits. It's about like, what's the biggest price in the company? Is the one that brings in the biggest client, or is the one that wins the satisfaction survey with his client? You know what I mean? Is the guy that is the best friend of everyone, or is the guy who is helping always to others, which is slightly different, right? So you gotta realize that stuff, and you have to make it an example, but you have to make it real. And for that is that I say, again, it's the same with games, right? I mean, I used to be a firefighter, and I used to be a ski patrol and a few other volunteers activities. And I've always found that in volunteer activities, you find a lot of good examples. Because as you're not getting paid, you really need to be there because of a reason. And always when you try to discipline people over there, you cannot be very tough, right? But you can have like some certain games, right? Tactic things. Like there are some things that some lines you just don't cross, but there are some other incentives. Here's the thing.
Thank you for that, and I want to take a minute to sort of transition the conversation to some of what you're doing, and it's you have been able to integrate a lot of these steps and a lot of these processes into a tool, into a platform, which companies can use to better curate a culture and to better transform the working environment. So I'd love to sort of hear your description or your quick pitch about Alma Suite, what it is and what it does.
What we did with Alma Suite was like pretty simple. We just realized that companies needed to communicate somewhere, that they needed to make things real somewhere, right? So what we did is that we combined we basically took what we were already using, right, in our social life. So we made up a private social network, right, as there are a few. But the interesting thing is that we just realized that usually managers or even like any employee, they don't like just like going there for just posting the pictures and that's it. They need something else, right? So this is a private social network that allows you to have like different channels of communication and direct messages and stuff, but we combine it with a task manager, with a private Wikipedia for knowledge management, with a game for learning and making sure that everyone is aligned and everybody knows where we're going, or even like everybody knows about like products, and an idea manager. So everyone can comment and propose, and you can actually make people be involved, right, with your company, professional profiles. So what we did is that it's a nice balance of features that they are like good for working together, but they're not too much, right? Because the classic thing is that companies these days, they're trying to be more modern, more efficient, and they're adopting technology, right? Usually the first step, right, is the ERP. Like you need to get your accountant and your finance in order, right? So you were kind of obliged to do that. Then usually companies go for a CRM, right? Like revenue comes from customers, and I need to take care of it. I need to do a good work with them. I need to manage that stuff in a good way. But even that is usually a big challenge, right? And many people, they just like buy a CRM, but they don't actually use it. And realizing that, because I've been there, I've been the manager trying to make like 100 guys use CRM. We just realized that we needed to make this thing easier. I mean, you need to lower the barriers so people can get in easier. And our way of doing that was making the things simpler, in a more simple way, right? It was just a social network. It's easy to get in, and you just realize in a few seconds what's going on inside your company. But you have the option to work it, right? You can assign a task. You can review what's being assigned to you. You can find a document. You can, right?
So to sort of, just to summarize, I mean, it has project management capabilities. It has internal communication capabilities, collaboration capabilities, and it's simple to use. That seems to be a theme.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. Actually, if you see, I mean, out there are like many task managers or project managers, and they're good. I mean, I could name you a few, right? And then it's the same with a private social network. There are a few out there. In terms of like knowledge managers, I don't think there are like many. And usually what I found is that they are like usually too complex, too sophisticated. I mean, they think I'm working in a big, huge consulting firm with like guys all over the world. No, man, I'm working in a regular company. I just need to have the things at a reach of hand, right?
Yeah.
So what we did is that we combine those few things, right? Plus a game for learning. That usually e-learning, it's an issue, right? You want to teach people, you want to make sure that people know something, and it's a big hassle of designing it, of implementing it, of like hiring someone that is going to design everything. No, here we just made a simple game that you can set it up in a few minutes. So the big thing that we did is that making all this in a simple and easy to use way. I mean, there are like more sophisticated task managers out there, for sure they are. Right? But it's just like when you're driving home, right? Do you need a Ferrari for it? Or do you need like a good, simple one that is comfortable enough?
Great analogy. Now, what sort of company would be ideal to use this platform? What's the ideal
I will say that usually most companies need it, right? Usually like smaller companies, and when they're a little bit more techy, they hang around well with Slack. I think Slack is a great tool. And it works well because usually those guys already have a few apps that they need to integrate, right? Usually like guys who are more into technology, they already are using a task manager. They're already using some other bots. They are already using something else, and they need to integrate it in one place. And probably they're working with a few freelancers, so they need everything, right? So Slack works well for them. And then, but then when you go into more traditional companies, right? Let's say, I don't know, a construction firm with 200 guys, right? Or a communications agency with 50 guys. Or let's say even maybe a mid-sized hotel chain that they have like 1,000 guys in, right? All those 3 guys, they don't have already like a few apps that they need to integrate in one place. They just need one place where they have a few things, right? So that's what we did. It's like you're managing the maintenance of your hotels, right? And it's much more simple if whoever finds something broken in a room, he just like list the stuff in a project or as a task and say, hey, these things need to be repaired, instead of going through all the bureaucracy and going back to someone that needs to fix that. It's the same with a construction company, right? You're seeing the follow-up of every week of every one of the buildings that you're doing, of the building sites, right? And again, that follow-up could be done in a good way in a project manager, but when it's combined with the picture, with whatever is going on, with the good practices, is that usually different sites, they have like no visibility of whatever's going on somewhere else. So the classic complaint is that, hey, we are actually the core of the organization, but in the headquarters, they have like no idea where we are at. Because come on, man, how are we going to know if you never sent us like a picture that you just finished the rooftop, right? And it's the same with the other construction site, right? Like they say, hey, what about like the thing that is going down in the highway? No idea. I mean, you never met them. Even though you're from the same company, you have never met each other. And if you realize that there's something going on that really made a difference, right, in the way you're working, you'll never realize that because nobody told you. But if you can upload that knowledge somewhere, everyone's winning, right?
So you already have quite a client list, and I'm curious what do your clients think about this? So the companies that already have adopted this tool, what's their feedback? What do they find most compelling?
I mean, it's the simplicity. I mean, when I call them and say, hey, man, like just like trying to do some research, why did you pick me? Because you're simple. I mean, it's just like they get in, it looks simple. You don't need to train people. And then I realize, or the usual feedback is not so much about the platform itself, but it's the cultural change it demands, right? So you go back to the first issue we were talking about, right? They say, yeah, well, we got a great tool, but this also defies us to work better, right? And usually the good news for them is that they start with something simple inside Alma, right? They start just like by posting, doing news, and maybe like, depending on the company, they're going to start on the trivias, doing this game, or they're going to start with the task, doing some stuff, or they're going to start with the wiki, uploading a lot of knowledge that they need to be at disposal, right? But depending on the site where they are, they can go all the way from using, let's say, an intranet to going a little bit more sophisticated into a collaboration platform. Right? So again, they like the fact that it's simple. but then they realize that it implies also some of the things that they are offline.
Yeah, right, sure. Now, to tie this back into our discussion on culture, what are the ways in which you find this platform to be so effective at kind of cultivating a positive, efficient, effective culture?
I would say that it's simple, right? I don't think that the platform does everything. It's not going to be, and I cannot promise that. Yeah. I just can promise you that if you want to have a good dinner, right, you need to start by the table.
Yeah.
Sure, the thing. So I'm the table, right? Yeah. I'm not going to do all the dishes. I'm not going to be the right conversation. I'm not going to be the right guest, right? But it's up to you to have a decent table so guests can sit at the table. You can put the plates. You can have the nice conversation and stuff. So here's the thing. Alma Suite is the table, but you need to bring in the right employees. You need to define which things are we going to do inside the platform. You need to define which is the way that we're going to be working. What are the things that you do? What are the things that I do? When is this supposed to be ready here? When you're going to publish the trivia? When are you going to publish this? Again, I think it's simple.
But it also does come with features which, you know, seem like they lend themselves very well to building a culture, like some of the collaboration features, some of the games and the trivia. That doesn't seem, I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot of other products which are so well designed to create that collaboration, create that incentive system.
I think that it's when you're able to design a well like working system, right? That for us usually the base is like, first you gotta communicate things, like what it's communicated, it doesn't exist, right?
Sure.
Second, you need to make knowledge available. Third, you need to manage things. And third and fourth, you need to test those, right? Yeah. So I think that's the key. When you're saying about the testing and the knowledge, I think that one of the keys is that just not assuming that because you're managing a few things, those things are done or those things are understood, right? You need to test those.
Sure.
And I think that usually the testing and making knowledge available really helps you to, as you said before, curate that culture, right? Yeah. Because when you're doing, again, certain tests or certain games, right, about, let's say, our client, our customer service, right? You're saying two things. First, you're testing that stuff and people realize that customer service has to be done in these certain ways. But at the same time, just because you're testing about customer service, you're telling everyone, hey, customer service is important. And that's why we're testing about this. And we're not testing about like accountability, or we're not testing about like efficiency or cost or procedures or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So again, what you test, what you manage and task, what you put as knowledge that it's going to be available for everyone. Yeah. Again, it's implicit about what what you want to be.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if people want to find you, if someone is interested in adopting this at their company, they want to sort of test this out, what should they do? Who should they contact?
I mean, it's just like they go into almasuite.com. That's ALMA suite as an apartment suite, right? almasuite.com. And they just like fill the form there and they request a demo so we can meet, or usually online, you can see a couple of videos, you can see some demos. We can show them the platform. They can try a demo version. And with that ready, they're ready to go. And after they're ready to go, usually we have like more than one option, and sometimes they just go alone, and some others we go by them. Going by them means like we try to coach them, right? And we go like week by week, seeing, hey, what you should be doing, and we try to blend this thing of strategies and tactics on what are the best way to make sure that the adoptions will go well, that you're actually achieving what you want to achieve, that you're using it in the right way. And for that, usually there are like three keys, and this is important, right? For any software, I think. First is leadership. I mean, if your CEO wouldn't answer the emails, nobody will send them. Second, it's cases of use. You need to explain what the platform is for. And usually many companies or many software that are just deployed without explaining to people properly, what are we using this thing for? Even CRM, right? You're starting a CRM, everybody jumps in and you say, yeah, well, we need to manage the clients and I just need to write down everything over here, right? But people, or even the sales guys, they never realize that this thing is going to make them things more simple,
Sure.
because they're going to be able to follow up in a right way, right? They're going to have like some things that they're going to be automated, that they're going to have like some alarms. They're always going to be able to go back on time and realize what's going on. Or if they got a call from a client that is not theirs, they can check on the client. Okay, those cases of use, they don't understand it. Sure. And because they don't understand it, they don't give the importance to it. Here's the same, right? You're adopting Alma, you need to explain and you need to define what are we going to use it for. So, okay, so our daily task or our weekly task or depending things with the client or things on maintenance or whatever, we're going to do it on here because it's going to leverage in this way, right? Yep. And third is the discipline, right? You need to make sure and you need to agree, right, as a team, okay, we're going to use this stuff, right? Because it's the only way that we're going to improve this that we are usually complaining about. And that's the challenge, right? Because it's just like when you're playing a team sport. Yeah. Okay, everybody agree that you're going to meet at 8 p.m. somewhere, and if one doesn't arrive, it spoils the thing for everyone, right? Sure. So here's the thing. I mean, if it's not everyone using the thing, you're going to spoil it, and that's discipline. I mean, that's certain rules that can be applied to certain games, benefits, whatever. But you need to make sure that there's a part that also the teams agree into something. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, Tomas, right. What a wonderful conversation. Right. Thanks for your time. Tomas Sanchez, founder of Alma Suite. You can check him out, almasuite.com. Thanks for watching. All right. Have a nice day. Take care.